Welcome to Psalm 36. The Lord detests the lawbreaker. The title, To the Director, to the Servant of the Lord, attributed to David. To the servant of the Lord, who could that be? Well, I believe that's us. We are servants of the Lord. If you are serving the Lord, and most people, I believe, they would probably be listening to these videos, seminars either are or would like to be, or want to know about what it is to be a servant to the Lord. And the Lord is a king. And a lot of people that are living in democracies, no more royalty, don't know what it's like to live under a king that is a total monarch. And if he says to jump, you say, how high? You don't question it. You don't vote on it. And here, a servant to King Jesus, I believe, is what I would like to think of it in our day. And it begins about the lawbreaker. And this is a quotation here. Write it down here. You can see it's in these curly brackets of Romans 3:18, and his argument is for all to be under sin. Everybody is a lawbreaker, and it begins I'll read it in Greek in a few verses. Physin o paranamos to amartanin en iafto, uk esti phobos theou apenantiton aphthalmon aftu, oti edholosen enopion aftu, evrin anomian aftu, ke misis say, and it goes on. The lawbreaker speaks in himself so as to sin. There is not a fear of God before his eyes. Well, there's a lot of people that are definitely breaking the law. A lot of people are caught and go to jail. And if they're not, well, they'll be facing the judge in the next episode of their life, which will go, I believe, in front of a judge. You'll find everyone guilty of breaking the law at some time or another. There is not a fear of God before his eyes. I break the law, I sin, and I suppose I think that, well, God's not watching, or I ignore it, or whatever. The fear of God is not before my eyes. If everybody was, if you were going to do something wrong, you certainly wouldn't do it in front of a policeman. Well, maybe today you would, because everybody is against the police in the United States in the year 2021. Is kind of crazy. But normally, in the normal way of things, you wouldn't break a law in front of a policeman. You have a fear. You can go to jail. But when he's gone, then you can do it because you think you can get away with it. But jails prove otherwise, and Hades proves otherwise also. And if it wasn't for Jesus' redemption, we would be there forever, it says. For he acted treacherously before him to find out his lawlessness and to detest. That would be to God, I would suppose. It was a difficult verse right there. Well, let me go back to it and show you the problem. For he acted treacherously. Now the he, we know it's a he because of the ending of this a verb, which is in the aorist past tense. He acted treacherously before avtu, and him, to find out his lawlessness. These are all pronouns, to find out his lawlessness and to detest. The sayings of his mouth, and there is the pronoun again. Now, whose mouth? The lawbreaker or God? The sayings of his mouth, well, we know from the context it's not God, are lawlessness and treachery. But if we didn't know, if it was two people, and it was a man and a woman, how would you know? Well, here's how you would find out. You would have the analytical lexicon of the Apostolic Bible Polyglot right here. And this book begins with a 32-page study guide, which is free. And the study guide I have right here, then 32 pages of it, and it goes through, it's basically a grammar for the analytical lexicon I just showed you. To go to a class and a college and take a course in Greek and go through all the stuff that you have to find out, learn, to me is superfluous. Basically what I have hopefully developed here is a way for a person not to have to go through all of that. You can just buy this book, acquire it, and read the introduction, and then go into the book itself, and it'll have every word outside of proper names listed, and it'll give you the parts of speech. And then what you do is you go in to the study guide, and now I'll go into page 27 here, and this is on the pronoun. Now, you would know it was a pronoun if you looked up number 1473, and you would see that's the personal pronoun. And it says, just to go through a little bit of this, the pronoun is a noun substitute and functions in sentences as nouns do. Without the pronoun, one would have to repeat the noun. For example, the man went to the store and he bought a loaf of bread. Well, the pronoun in this example is he, which we have he also here, which he has, which has its antecedent, or word which he refers to, being namely the man, and is in the gender and number agreement. That's important. And we'll go show you what that means. Without the pronoun in the sentence would read, the man went to the store and the man bought a loaf of bread. In Greek, see now the man bought the loaf of bread instead of he. In Greek, the pronoun agrees with its antecedent in gender, that's masculine, feminine, or neuter, and number, singular or plural. Now, you would look in that analytical lexicon under 1473 for this of two, and it would show you this is genitive, but it's a singular masculine. And so then you know that the antecedent would have to be a masculine singular. In Genesis 1:12, it says, and the fruitful tree producing fruit, that's carpon, of which the seed is in it, avtu, is in avto, in it, of its seed is in it. Now, what three Greek words have in common is that they are all masculine singular, with avtu and avto agreeing with the antecedent fruit, carpon. But sometimes it's not so simple to determine the antecedent, for the antecedent may appear quite distant from the pronoun, and in some cases, not at all, and a lot of sleuthing is necessary. One might write down the Greek pronoun and find its gender and number in the analytical lexicon, right there, 1473, and you look in and it would tell you. And then go back to the nouns, and so now you would go, it's a masculine, it's the sayings of his mouth, a masculine singular, so we go back up and we see where the last masculine sentence, and there's a him, well, that's the same thing. For he, acted treacherously. Now, he is not a pronoun because it's actually part of the verb. And now we see here the lawbreaker is masculine and singular. But then there is not a fear of God, but it's not in the nominative where it's the subject. So the subject is the lawbreaker, not God. There is not a fear of God is a genitive. So for he acted treacherously. Well, it's not God, it's the lawbreaker. And you can tell by the context also what it would be. And so all these pronouns that are there, the sayings of his mouth are lawlessness, the lawbreaker. Now going back to what it says, one might write down the Greek pronoun and find its gender and number in the analytical lexicon, and then go back to the nouns and find the antecedent or antecedent that agrees with the pronoun and gender, masculine, feminine, neuter, or number. Now, the importance of understanding pronouns agreement and their antecedents is of primary importance in translation of the text of the Bible. And then it goes through and it gives you all the different types of pronouns, personal pronouns, emphatic pronoun, reflective, possessive, and a lot of information. In this study guide, 32 pages, is free to download. You don't have to buy the analytical lexicon book. You can download it free on our website. And then you can also get the analytical lexicon as a download. And right now it's $4.95 in 2021. So you don't have to take a college course. Why? What would you want to learn all the minutiae of Greek grammar? It's really not that necessary just to go through the Bible and to understand and look up certain words. So that's what I meant. To me, taking a college class in university and biblical Greek is superfluous. And now a lot of the colleges and Bible colleges are closing. And boy, I sure would love to have a way of actually doing this in a classroom and trying it out on a group of people and see how they work with the study guide and the analytical lexicon to teach basic biblical Greek. And if I ever get a invite, maybe I would do that just to see how it would work. Now to go back to the text in verse 4, he reasons lawlessness upon his bed. Now he here is not a pronoun; it's part of a verb. He reasons. You look up this word 12:16, it would show you was masculine, singular. He reasons upon his bed, but that's not a noun, so that's not the antecedent. The antecedent has to be a noun, I believe. He reasons lawlessness upon his bed. And that's what this lawless person does. Thinks about it, lays there and thinks about what he can do. He renders to every way not good, and evil he did not loathe. He renders, that means he goes along with every way that's not good. And evil, he did not loathe. He likes doing evil. Now we go into verses 5 to 9, and I have outlined that as attributes of God: mercy, truth, righteousness, judgment, a preserver, protector. He waters us with springs of life and light. O Lord, your mercy, there it is in the heaven. An attribute of God is mercy. And your truth, another attribute, unto the clouds. And Jesus is the truth, and mercy is what he has given us by telling us the way for us to be redeemed. Your righteousness, there it is, God's righteousness, is as the mountains of God. Now, exactly what mountains of God is here, I didn't look that up to try to figure that out. Could be Mount Sinai. It could be the Mount of Zion. There's mountains and hills, actually, but the Mount Meron, where I believe Jesus was transfigured and the next temple will be. The mountains of God. Your judgments, a vast abyss. I'm not exactly sure why he chose abyss. That's the deeps in the ocean, the abyss. And it's also a place where Satan will be cast, which might be what it's talking about here. Your judgments, a vast abyss to those that go there, I suppose. And you shall preserve men and cattle, O Lord. Takes care of man and beast. How you multiplied your mercy, O God, and the sons of men shall hope in the protection of your wings. Now, the wings of God are the wings of the creatures that are the cherubim, probably what it's talking about, in the protection of the cherubim. And now let's see, we went down this far. Let me see if we can find another 1473. Then we'll find all that there's Av too, his bed. So you could find 1473, you've got all the pronouns. There it is, su, you, of yours, you, singular. And that would be the Lord, O Lord. You, su, your. Another, and there's another su, your. All of these are your, of your. And it's the judgments of yours is basically what it should read, but it doesn't sound good in English. But the su is genitive, just as the of too, of his, or of him. And let me see. Oh, there's another su there, of yours. Su again, yours. They shall be intoxicated from the fatness, Sue, of your house. The protection of the people that love God in the fatness of the house. Well, the house isn't fat. This is another figure of speech of the good things that are in the house, which would be probably the temple. And you shall water them of the rushing stream of your delicacy, and the rushing stream of your delicacy. For from you, now, this is and this is the sea, 1473 would be the dative, singular, indirect object. From you is the spring of life. So God is the spring of life. And it talks about the rushing stream of your delicacy, you shall water them. For from you is the spring of life. And that spring is not a boing spring, it's a water spring. In your light, we shall see light. And the light is Jesus, and the Word of God is a light for us also. Photi and phos. Photic, phosphorus, are derivatives. Now it extends to a supplication, asking for something. And it is, extend your mercy to the ones knowing you, O Lord, and there is knowing you. Say, and that is the accusative, singular, the indirect, the direct object. Extend your mercy to the ones knowing you. And you of your righteousness to the ones straight in the heart. Another one there. Let not the foot of pride come against me. Basically, he's talking about himself. Don't let me become prideful. The writer, David, if it is, don't let it come against me. Don't let this happen. And the hand of the sinner to shake me. There's another 1473, and me there against me. And here in the accusative. So don't let the hand of the sinner shake me, nor the foot of pride come against me. There they fell. Now the conclusion, and he comes up and says, they fell. Who? All the ones working lawlessness, where we began with the lawless. They have all fallen, and they will fall if they haven't fallen yet. When they are in front of God, they'll be falling on their face for one place and falling into Hades in the second. They were pushed out, and in no way should they be able to stand. Now, lawless people can. Today, you can stand, but so this, I believe, is a portent of the condition of Hades. Once you're there, you're pushed out into Hades, and in no way should they be able to stand or do anything. I don't think it means actually stand. It's another figure of speech. Psalm 37, our next video seminar, the just ones, the righteous, shall inherit the earth. Amen. And that hopefully is all of us. Hope you join us in Psalm 37. Until then, God bless.